Should we tell people that we're on a GLP-1 drug? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, this is Jill from the North Woods. Hoping that you're enjoying this weekly walk through the Mounjaro world and weight loss and health. First thing to say is I lost 0.6 pounds, not the biggest week at all, but now I think that brings me to 52.6 pounds. So we're making way. My work just got done. We had our own Biggest Loser, not contest, but kind of contest. For the weeks that we had going, I lost a total of 12.1 pounds. It all makes a difference. So that's pretty good. And to just give you some non-scale successes that I had is I went to lunch with a friend I hadn't seen in a couple of months, and she was like, wow, you're skinny, which is hard for me to take because I still have a lot of weight to lose. The other thing is I went and saw a concert, and I sat down in the seat, and I always felt bad sitting down in the seat, like the person next to me is going to be disappointed because I'm squishing into their seat. And so I sort of said, well, if this person on the other side doesn't come, we'll scooch over one. I'm really sorry. And he's like, well, we all sit here in the concert together, right? And I realized when I looked down, I'm not even anywhere close to touching the two sides of the seats anymore. There's no reason to be sorry for me sitting down next to someone like I used to. And so that was amazing. That was amazing. And then now I just got into the smallest pair of pants I had from when I lost weight before. And now I'm out of pants after this, so there's going to be some pants shopping going on. But the question I had in mind when I first started taking this is, am I going to tell people? Am I going to tell people that I'm taking this particular kind of drug? And the first thing I did when I decided to do this drug is I knew that I had crossed into diabetes a while ago. I knew that I did not succeed in fighting it off. I had kept to a low calorie diet, a low carb diet, a high protein diet. I mean, pretty much what I'm eating right now. And I did lose weight, but when I used the consumer blood glucose test, I knew it wasn't enough. So I went and had lunch with my friend and I said, you know that drug that everyone has been losing weight on? And she goes, you mean the drug like all the Hollywood stars lose weight on? And I said, yep, that's the one. I'm going to talk to my doctor about going on that drug and seeing if he would let me go on that drug. And she said, oh, well, come to this? Do we really need to do this? You and I, we can work on this. We can try harder. Maybe sometimes I tempt you too much because every once in a while, not that much actually, we go out to lunch. And then when I go out to lunch, I didn't do horribly. It wasn't diet food for sure. And I said, no, it's too late. I've been having high blood sugar for way too long. They wanted me to come back years ago. And I didn't want to go on insulin. And so I didn't come back. And so the first person I told was her. We're very much into the strive, work harder, try another tactic. There's some way of getting around everything in life. And she says, really? Is that what you want to do? And I said, yeah, I think it's the only thing I can do because I am now not losing weight rapidly enough. If I kept going at this weight that I'm going at right now, I mean, we are talking decades before I'm a normal weight. And not only that, I don't know what's going to happen with this diabetes thing. And now in my mind, I thought that I was going to get put on insulin. And even my doctor asked me, he said, well, you know, after we told you had diabetes, you never came back. Why didn't you come back? And I said, well, I didn't want to go on insulin. So I was going to work on it myself to fix this. And he goes, oh, we wouldn't have put you on insulin the first thing. That's like the last thing we do now. And I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't know that. So yikes. Anyway, I went on the drug. I had my other friend who helped me make this decision. She knew a lot about this. She pointed me in the right direction. She said that this was a good direction. And I just was thinking, no, it's cheating. You know, the thing that you always hear with this drug, it's cheating. You can do it the real way. You don't need to do this. You don't need to go to this extent. And I was like, no, I think she's right. I mean, it feels like my last chance to be thin in my life, to be honest with you. And I know I'm not that old, but you don't understand what I mean. Like, I have just tried everything. I have been on Jenny Craig. I have been on Weight Watchers. I've been on that other Nutrisystem. I tried high protein. I tried low carbs. I tried fasting. I tried intermittent fasting. I mean, you name it. And I'm really pretty good at this stuff. So when I decide I'm going to do intermittent fasting, I'm very good at it. When I decide that I'm going to eat low carbs, and high protein, I'm good at that too. I mean, I follow things pretty well. And I've tried it all. I've tried it all and they failed one after the other. And again, I'm not going to go into it, but I think it's because my metabolism is just at this point completely broken. I've been overweight since I've been probably 8 years old and really overweight. So I'm broken about this. So anyway, I decided to take the drug. And so I start going on the drug. And the first next group of people that I told is the people at work. That was my next group of people I told. And the reason I told them is I thought, I work remotely. You're going to see me on Zoom meetings every day. And it's going to be weird because I'm going to be dropping weight like crazy. And so part of it was, do I take credit for it? And that's a whole other thing. I mean, of course, I am working hard at this, right? But I thought they're going to have questions. They're going to see me lose weight. And even today, we were in a meeting and my boss said, hey, the next time you come out here, we're not even going to see you anymore. You're going to be two-dimensional. You've lost so much weight. So I told him how much I lost and it was very nice. My team is amazing. I just want to say that my team is amazing and they're so supportive. But I told them because I just thought, it's going to be weird because I'm losing weight. But part of it is that I work in clinical trials research software. And the people I work with are medical researchers. This drug is a wonder of medical research. We found a way of allowing people to lose weight when they couldn't lose weight before, lower the blood sugar, all the different things, now that we're saying that it helps with your heart and it helps with liver and it helps with kidneys and it helps with ADHD and alcoholism and all the things that it does. That's all medical research. That is what the people I work with do, whether it's cancer, whether it's this, whether it's, hundreds of other drugs. This is what I do for a living. And this is a credit to their hard work. So I felt like I should tell them that I'm doing this because this is the outcome of the kind of work they do. So I think it's important. But that's the first issue is why do you want to tell people? I think you need to get that in your head. Obviously, telling a friend, you get support and encouragement, or maybe you want to tell someone because there's some days I may not feel okay. There's days I may feel fatigue or nausea, something like that, or why I'm not eating. I remember I went out with someone and they were like, do you not like this food? And I'm like, I'm on a GLP1 drug. I'm on Mounjaro, and I just really don't eat much. I mean, to be honest, this is delicious, but I just don't eat much, and it's very hard for me to eat a lot, of food. And so then suddenly that was another reason because I may be insulting my friend who cooked for me and I'm just not eating a great deal of food. I started now wanting to tell people about this because there's so many people that assign stigma to it. You should do it the hard way. You should do it the real way. You should toughen up, snowflake, and just lose the weight. And I want people to know that many people either have a long way to go and it's going to take forever. This will be faster, or they're just broken. They can't anymore lose the weight. You can lose weight, but it is going to be slow and painful to get this much weight off in a period of time. And we want to live our lives. You might say, well, just suck it up. Spend the next 15 years doing this, and then you'll be thin, and you'll have done it the right way. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, in 15 years, am I going to be able to go in the hikes I want to go to? In 15 years, am I going to be able to do some of the adventures I want to have? Might be too late. So, part of that is I want to tell people about this because I want them to know a few things about it. This is not a shortcut. I still work very hard at this. I still exercise. I eat better than I have ever eaten in my entire life. I am learning lessons. And not only that, I think that you get into these, like salt addictions, Diet Coke addictions, and all these things that you just get addicted to by taking, let's say, a year and a half off from eating all these foods. I'm hoping to break the cycle that when I maybe eventually leave taking this drug, I won't have that high salt desire. I won't have that sugar desire. I won't have the desire to drink pop. I won't have the desire to do lots of things. I can because I will have been away from the whole past of me long enough, I can break the cycle. Part of it wants me to tell people this is not a shortcut in the way you think it is. This is a way, and maybe the only way we get to do this. Some people are just too broken in their metabolism or too stuck in whatever they do. I ate more, I gained weight. I ate less, I gained weight. I fasted, I gained weight. I mean, I eventually got to this place where I could lose weight, but I could not eat any less or I would become unhealthy. When the pandemic started, that was when I decided I had to lose weight because I saw what COVID did to people who were overweight. And I said, I have to do something about it. I'm doing all these other things to try to protect people in my life. And the one thing I could be doing is getting healthy. All right, there you go. So the next part of it is you gotta decide how many people you want to share it with. We're not that close with everybody, and so we don't have to share it with everyone. Probably you do not have a YouTube channel where you talk about this all the time, and you just have to decide how many people are you going to share it with, and how much do you want to share. And I was reading just to sort of look around on Reddit to see what other people said about it. And some people said about these last two questions, well, I also take anti-anxiety medicine, but you don't see me telling everyone about that, do you? And they're right. Do I talk about my cholesterol medicine? Do I mean, not my cholesterol medicine, but do you talk about the little blue pill? You don't talk about often what drugs you are taking. And this one just happens to be very visible, but you should think about that. And so some people are like, no, I don't tell anyone. It's no one's business. I get that too. So for me, I can't live, I don't want to say secrets. I'm not saying that if I don't tell everyone on the planet I'm on Mounjaro, it's not a secret, but I can't do that. I really just am someone who lives in the open and someone says, hey, Jill, awesome, you've lost a lot of weight. I say, oh, yeah, I'm taking this drug. It's helping a ton. And I'm really like fixing all my eating problems and soda pop addictions and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it's been very helpful. So then thinking about how much you want to share. Part of it is that you can talk about too. In my case, I had insulin resistance, but I also had diabetes. Okay, that's great. That's one way to talk about it is to say, I got into the level of diabetes and I had to take something. And so this was going to be something that would also help me with my diabetes. Or you can talk about, hey, my experience is I don't have big side effects. I know you hear a lot of Hollywood stars talk about their side effects, talk about problems they're having. I just am not one of them. Not everybody has those. Or I work really hard, in my case, I know I do, to keep from having side effects. Or this has been really helpful. I have not had any problems at all. In fact, I talked to someone on Twitter when she said something very disparaging about the GLP1, the Ozempic, and all the drugs out there, and how it should be banned. She was just insistent that it was be banned. And I said, look, this drug is saving my life. My numbers are in good order. I'm losing weight at a normal clip for the first time in decades. And it's really saving my life right now. And she then said, well, I hope what happened to me doesn't happen to you. She ended up getting pancreatic issues. And so then she had to get surgery. And so now her eating isn't back together again. So her anger about this drug was primarily because she had a bad experience with it. But not everybody does. And some people do, some people don't. And so even if you have stigma because it didn't work for you or work for someone else, that doesn't mean everyone's in your same boat. And so that I feel pretty strongly about it. I want all the people out there who say this is a shortcut, this is giving in, this is a joke, it doesn't really work, it causes all these problems, you're taking the easy way out. I want to be the advocate to say that's not true. None of that is true. It is helping people who need help. And I think that's where I'm at now. So like I said, you sort of have to decide where you're at in it. And right now I'm at this part because I don't want people to walk around saying, that stuff should be banned because it's not doing anything that a bowl of vegetables wouldn't do for you. And that's just not true. And so I think too that when you talk about these bits of information about it, you're going to have to decide for yourself. Like I said, I'm just not someone if someone came to me and says, "Wow, Jill, you look great," or "You lost a lot of weight," the next words out of my mouth are, "Yeah, I'm taking Mounjaro." I don't know. That's just the way I operate, so that's kind of how I go about it. And like I said, part of it is me trying to reframe it a little bit to help people understand what it does and what it doesn't do, to try to help people understand the science of it, to help people understand how it can affect so many more things. My ADHD has gone away. I just had a weird side effect. Like I said, I went to a concert tonight. I'm not someone who really historically liked music that much. And suddenly I do. And I don't know what happened. Like, I find myself tapping my foot to music or enjoying listening to music when before I would just wanted to listen to podcasts and books. So there's other weird side effects out there that are, in my mind, me sharing and me telling people, I hope is getting rid of the stigma, is getting rid of this bad image. People, again, have all sorts of different ideas, misinformation about what this drug does, doesn't do, when it helps, when it hurts, what you have to do, the fact that it still requires discipline, it still requires work. So let me say it this way, if you're going to start taking this drug, I think just sort of think about what it is you're going to say to people, because people are going to ask, they're going to go, wow. They're going to think about what you're doing, or maybe, like I said, days that you just don't feel great. That the friend I go camping with, when I took the shot and then we were gonna go out and go hiking, and I said, "I gotta sit for a while. I'm not feeling great." She understood because she knew. So she knew how to be a friend to me at that point when I wasn't feeling the best. So I think that that's part of it. But like I said, you're gonna have to decide for yourself. I think the stigma is starting to go away. I hope it is. But I think too that every one of us has different reasons, different effects, different ways we're working at this. Are there people out there who can just take the shot, lose weight, and then they just drop weight without having to exercise, changing their food? Absolutely. Ton of people like that. I explain to people around me, my goal in this is getting healthy. Of course, if I have a drug that makes me care less about food, I'm going to start eating better. If I have a food that's making me lighter and allowing me to exercise better, I'm going to go do that. So to me, this is a success story. But I have to tell you, I've seen so many people out there, particularly on Reddit and on forums and on other YouTube videos, where family members are disappointed in them, where they say, I can't tell my husband I'm taking this drug because he would be so disappointed in me. And it's hard. They're afraid to tell people that they're doing this because they're going to get this type of judgment, that they're having some sort of moral failure. And in fact, right before I took this drug on my podcast, where I talk about making your life better just in general, I talked about shortcuts. Are shortcuts cheating? Knowing at that time when I was recording that podcast, I'm going to go on this drug. Is using ChatGPT to edit your transcript cheating? Is using Mounjaro to lose weight? When I grew up, people were saying the internet was cheating. All the internet, using anything from the internet was cheating. So again, I think, we're going to have to decide, but the people in your life, and I think that you can decide differently. Maybe there are people you just can't tell because you just know what they're going to say and how they're going to take it wrongly. So I think you have a plan in place about telling that and when you're going to let people in the circle of trust or when you're not. All right, everyone. It's late for me. Like I said, I went to a concert and I just got home, but I hope this is helping you out. If you have anything that I could talk about, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer it. Again, I'm not a doctor. I just do, I guess, research. I just am interested in everything and how this drug helps so many people's lives. I watched so many people's videos out there of them taking this drug because I'm so curious what it does differently for other people, the same, all of that. So I appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. Leave a comment, tell a friend, ask a question. I'm happy to talk about it. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful evening.